Together, growing in faith, changing communities.
Together, growing in faith, changing communities. My dear brothers and sisters, today I would like us to reflect on the Gospel of Mark, chapter 1, from verse 29 to verse 39. What I would like us to talk about, for us to give a topic to this reflection, it talks about the spirituality of gathering the broken pieces. The spirituality of gathering the broken pieces. If you go into this gospel account, in this episode, Jesus is on a journey, is on a move, is on a transition. He comes out from a synagogue, and having left the synagogue, he goes into the house of Simon. And he goes with James and John, Simon and Andrew, and possibly there were many others who followed. And when he gets into the house, he soon learns about Simon's mother-in-law who is sick. And they bring Jesus to her. And he goes and he holds her by the hand and he heals her. But there's something that I'd like us to look into. If you go to our first reading that comes from the book of Job, in chapter 7, from verse 1 to verse 7, Job speaks about the difficulties of life. He talks about the struggles, the sufferings, and he asks a question: who among you has not suffered? Who among you has not experienced some sort of pain, of trials, of tribulations? And he looks at his own life, and as you know the story of Job, he becomes a testimony himself. But I love what happens in the gospel. Jesus, having performed a miracle, we are told that a number of people were brought to him, and he healed many who were sick. He cast out evil spirits and demons. And surely he goes to sleep, exhausted, tired, with a sense of achievement, excitement. He has been able to do that which he came out to do. But what I love us to look into and to look at it deeply is what the author says. Early in the morning, he rose and he went out into the lonely place and he prayed. You probably have gone through a lot. You probably are going through a lot. There's so much pain, so much suffering, confusion, fear, and anxiety. When we first heard of COVID, and when we first went on our first lockdown in March, quite a number of people thought, this will be over. It's like any other flu. And so people gathered the strength to say, we will navigate through this. And we were made to believe that COVID is at worst during winter. And so people could not wait to go through the beautiful summer. Boom, without us knowing, in the middle of summer, November, December, a second wave. And people said, okay, maybe we can deal with this. But as you have known and noticed, the second wave was far more deadlier than the first. And it exhausted and continues to destroy many people's lives. And as people think they are coming out of the second wave, boom, we are told of a possibility of a third wave. And so, as a people, as a community, as individuals, it can get a little bit too much. The mental strength, the emotional resilience, how far can one go? And so, when Jesus gets up early in the morning and when he goes up to a lonely place, that's where I want us to go to. I want us to go to a lonely place where we can be alone with God, when we can be alone with our thoughts, when we can be alone with ourselves, and to see what has happened and to have the ability to face the fear, the pain, the frustration, the anger, the bitterness, and everything else that you and I are going through. I want us to go to a lonely place where angels dare not go. My dear brothers and sisters, I need us to be honest with ourselves, to be honest with the reality that many people are broken. In as much as we've lost our loved ones and there's been so much death, but emotionally we are a wreck. Emotionally, this is too much. It's too much to bear. And so when I speak about the spirituality of picking out the broken pieces, I'm seeing in my mind, in my head, a nation, a community that has been hit by a cyclone, a catastrophe, that your buildings are destroyed. There's been a terrible earthquake, and you come and you look at the debris and you try and see if you can recognize anything that is yours. And there are two actions that take place there. Either you go there and you realize that there's nothing that is left for you to use, or you try and pick up whatever is useful for you. But as we try to pick up whatever reminds us or whatever lies us or links us back to the past, some of those things are broken. My dear brothers and sisters, our lives will never be the same. You go and you do a study of the generations that survived World War I, World War II. Go and do a study of the generations that survived the Holocaust. Go and do a study of a generation that survived the genocide in Rwanda. Go and Burundi. Go and do a study of those who survived any traumatic experience. Go and do a study of those who survived slavery in America. We will never be the same. But find consolation in St. Paul. In 2 Corinthians chapter 4, from verse 8 to verse 9. We may be pressed at all sides, but we are never crushed. Perplexed, but never in despair. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so moving into the lonely place, there are decisions that needs to be made. Moving into a lonely place, there's a reality I need to face. To death, not to my house. Despair, not to my children. Depression, not to my home. Suicide, not in our lifetime. My dear brothers and sisters, as Jesus stays in a lonely place, he prays to God. He connects with the only thing that he knows is real. And for some of us, praying is difficult. We cannot bring ourselves to prayer. But you cannot give up now. You cannot throw the towel now. Simon comes and he says, everybody's searching for you. And then there's something powerful there. Everybody's looking to take a piece of you. And Jesus makes an important statement to Simon. And he says, let us go on to the next town. And that's my final point I want to talk about. Transitioning. You've been through a lot. You are going through a lot. But do not allow this to be the last chapter of your life. Do not allow this to be the end of you. Pick up the broken pieces and move on. Let us move on to the new phase of our lives. May the Virgin Mother of God continue to be with us, to pray with us and for us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.